my keyboard has a built-in cutting feature. What can yours do? This here is the Corsair K100 Air Wireless, or the... get ready, K100 Air Wireless RGB Ultra Thin Mechanical Gaming Keyboard Cherry MX Ultra Low Profile Tactile. Oh, yeah, Corsair just outdid themselves on the name this time. Not to be mistaken with the K100 RGB, very different keyboard. No, today's episode will be my experience with the K100 over the last few months, and I don't want to spoil the entire video, but I don't really like it. Don't get me wrong, it's the wireless ultra thin version of the actual K100, and it does a decent job at what it is supposed to be. Thin. The keyboard is shaped like a triangle. It starts off at just 5.9 millimeters, and towards the end it becomes 13.5 millimeters. So this is a very, very thin keyboard. But of course it still has legs. Out of the box, the standing height becomes 16.25 millimeters. Using the interior thinner leg, pumps that up to 21.6, and with the entire leg out, we max it out at 28.5 millimeters. So yay, the thin keyboard can still stand. Other than that, it offers relatively base-like functionality for a keyboard in 2025. Out of the box, we get the keyboard itself, like the usual Corsair warranty stuff, and the cable. As mentioned in the long-ass product name, this is still a wireless keyboard. You can connect it either via the included about 1.80 meter long USB-C to USB-A cable, which gives you the full functionality, or even the fullest functionality, but we will get to that later. Or you can use the cable solely for charging and rely on the wireless part of this wireless keyboard. For that, we got two ways. Either use the included Bluetooth, which is accessible by pressing the FN key and then one of the G2 to G4 keys, because we can save up to 3 connections. But this will only give you limited functionality in terms of RGB control or what iCUE can do later on. If you want the full experience, you will need to rip out this little wireless dongle and permanently sacrifice one of your USB-A ports. And from there, it's the beautiful world of iCUE. And to give you a glimpse into how well that went for me, this is what my iCUE looks like every time it starts. I don't know why, I don't have the time or the energy to find out. It annoys me. No, I don't want to paint a completely dark picture here. Apart from all the error messages, which I can just click away, controlling the keyboard with iCUE went somewhat fine. This is still an RGB-filled keyboard, so every single key is separately lit, and using the ultra unintuitive lighting effects part of iCUE, you can set every key to whatever you want, or you can dabble with one of the many pre-created effects. So it's fine. The one actual positive thing I can say about iCUE in this use case is the key assignment window. Compared to how setting up RGB works, this is ultra intuitive. You can set every key to whatever you want, be it another key, start an application, do a macro, or just blast out an entire paragraph. Nothing that I actually need on a daily basis. But if I were, for example, to use this keyboard for live report writing, it might be useful to use this to pre-program repetitive words, like, for example, who's talking. That makes sense in my mind. And then there is the performance part, which I don't know why they called it performance, because it's just here to disable a bunch of stuff. But let's finish the keyboard itself before we get to the things that annoy me about this one. It's a full-size keyboard. We got the 4 macro keys above the numpad, which we already mentioned before, just that the first one is meant for that included wireless dongle. And by the way, just because you connect the keyboard via USB doesn't mean that it's using USB. By default, it will stay in wireless with the dongle. And if you really want to use the USB cable for connection, either disconnect the dongle or press the FN and G1 key. You will see that it is in USB mode once the USB wired polling rate menu pops up in iCUE. And why is that important? Because the wireless dongle is limited to 2000 Hertz, the polling rate, or twice every millisecond. And if you're using USB mode, the keyboard can use its full 8000 Hertz rate. But back to the keyboard. Above everything, we got a little media control center, volume roller, and the usual buttons. In the center, we got all the indication lights and the required by law Corsair logo. And on the opposite side, we got the profile key to switch between the different iCUE profiles, a brightness key, which half the time seems like it doesn't really do anything, and the win lock button, the one we saw the options for in the performance tab. Other than that, it's a regular keyboard. Full key rollover, a button to shut it down completely, the usual stuff. The switches used in here are Cherry MX Ultra Low Profile Tactile. Of course, this is supposed to be thin. They do feel tactile. They make a nice sounding lower pitch click sound, and given the thickness of everything, I'm even astonished that they do not have that much wiggle going on. And to finish off the keyboard, we even got onboard memory. In case you really despise iCUE, which I would fully understand, you can install it once, configure everything you need to configure, save whatever you did onto the keyboard and send iCUE back into oblivion where it belongs. I don't know if you've noticed, but so far I haven't really said anything negative other than making the occasional joke about iCUE. And that's because the keyboard does precisely what it is made for. It is a thin, mechanical gaming keyboard. It has the rollover and polling rate necessary. The keys feel nice. The typing is fine. And given that this is meant to be as thin as possible, I don't even mind that there is nothing like a cushion included. I even understand it. And design-wise, I don't even believe the keyboard looks too much gaming-like. Make the RGB all white and you got a somewhat decent office keyboard. The all-brushed aluminum design kinda makes it look modern, I don't know, clean. And not to make Corsair too happy today, but the build quality of the entire thing is just excellent. Considering how thin this thing is, it is astonishingly sturdy. Like, I had keyboards triple the thickness of this that bent using peer pressure alone. No, all of my issues are just quality of life things, and over the last few months these quality of life things, they annoyed me so many times, too many times. Let's start with the angle of some of the keyboard's corners. This corner is fine, this one is fine too, and this one made my wife question if everything is okay. I do not understand how they can miss that in pre-production. The top left and right corners are too sharp, and the keyboard being made out of aluminum, that is a problem. Like, when I'm working, I usually have my cup of coffee in front of my keyboard and I reach it using my right hand. The amount of times I scratch my arm to the point, maybe not to the point of bleeding, but like a nice red cut line afterwards. Like, I never hurt myself for real, but I had marks for days. And no, I won't repeat this for the B-rolls. I do not want to call this dangerous, but I don't know, for a smaller kid, I mean, this cuts through skin. And if you're testing something long term to report on it, and within 12 hours it makes you bleed, it kind of makes it hard to find anything positive afterwards. And another, if not the major issue for me, is the wake up time. Now, by default, the keyboard goes into sleep after 15 minutes, which is totally okay. It's necessary. Corsair claims a 50 hours battery time, which I agree with. And including the sleep after 15, I can run this thing for about a week without a charge. Disable the sleep timer and you've got 2 days, hence it's a necessary function. But it takes several seconds for the keyboard to wake up, which is way too long. It annoyed the hell out of me. But here's the kicker. The media control buttons don't run on that timer. These will not wake up the keyboard at all. And that was, for me, the major issue when working. I work with Yamaha HS8. Amazing monitors, I love them, but I've got like a bunch of stuff in between to make them run. And thus 1 percentage point in Windows volume control is a whole lot noise in real life. And depending on if I'm alone in the office, I switch between headsets and my HS8. The amount of time some random Chrome window blasted at 110 dB into the office, and me in a full panic just spinning that volume knob like crazy, nothing is happening. I realize, oh, I need to press any other button. I press a freaking button, I wait again 10 seconds, and at that time I have like 50 neighborhood complaints. I'm not mad. It was just annoying a few times. And to make matters worse, the sleep timer is on the keyboard itself, not on the PC. So if, for example, I switch to brain passive mode and I only use the mouse, I don't touch the keyboard, after 15 minutes, it will just shut down and you will get back on that wake up timer. Even if the PC was still running and you were using it using the mouse, the timer's on the keyboard. That was not a smart move. That happened so many times. Horrible. Why is the media part not on the timer? Or even better, make the whole thing wake up faster, or like both. A 2-second wake up timer started by the volume wheel. I don't get why that wasn't an option. And these are, I would say, my 2 major issues with this thing. And as I said throughout the video, it's not a bad keyboard. The build quality is amazing, the typing is nice, it's actually like really freaking thin, but after a week it made me look like I was going through a secondary puberty, and the non-up-waking media control wheel is the biggest enemy of a person who tries to stealth watch videos at night. And to put it short, the keyboard just isn't anything special. It's okay, nothing more or less. But the problem with being in that state, because that's an okay state. However, the price. 300 euros. 300 euros for a keyboard that does nothing extra other than being thin. I just can't wrap my head around that price. 150 would have been something that I could even get behind. The build quality, the pulling rate, that would defend the price. But 300. And no, this has nothing to do with the layout. I need the Swiss one because of Luxembourgish reasons, but the German and the regular one are just as expensive. 300 bucks. Just no. No, the keyboard is fine. If you've got it already, cool. It's a nice keyboard. I enjoyed using it. I had my issues with it, but it was okay typing wise. But for that price, you can get way better stuff, doing way more special stuff, and without the occasional bleeding and unstoppable speaker blasting. As for Corsair, I suspect that the wake-up time might be improvable via software update. If so, please do so. And if the media control buttons can be added to the wake-up call as well, please do, it's necessary. But more importantly, the radius here needs to change. Maybe it's too late for this existing product, but for the future, for future productions, just check. I mean, by rubbing the finger alone, you can feel this is too sharp. But okay, this would be everything on my long-term experience using the K100 Air Wireless RGB Ultra Thin Mechanical Gaming Keyboard Cherry MX Ultra Low Profile Tactile. And at this point, a huge thank you to Corsair for sending it over, even if it made me bleed. Oh, on a side note, we have a Discord server, so if you want to join, the link is down below. And we got channel membership, so if you are planning to sell your soul for an RG poop emoji, that's one way to go. But if not, I'm also releasing the content to all members 2 or 3 weeks in advance. Except for the NDA stuff, because, you know, I don't want to get sued. Additionally, you can rest assured that the income will not only keep the channel afloat, but will also serve to medical expenses. How many cuts can I get before getting an infection? Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you want to keep going, have a look at one of these videos. I would have loved to point you to another keyboard video. I have one recent, but the last one I did was bought up by Be Quiet, and then they made the keyboard disappear. Unfortunate for the video. Anyway, hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.